Welcome to this explainer. Today we're going to slow things down just a bit and dive into something really profound. What does it actually mean to truly connect with another human being? We usually operate under this assumption that the ultimate goal of any relationship, whether that's a personal one or on a broader societal level, is total, unclouded comprehension. But today, we're going to explore the boundaries of that understanding. We'll be looking at a philosophical framework suggesting that true connection might not actually require us to completely explain someone. Instead, it might just require a profound respect for what we can never fully grasp about each other.
So, here's a question for you to kick things off. Does understanding someone actually mean being able to explain them? Think about it. Usually, when we listen to someone, learn their background, and kind of guess the reasons for why they do what they do, we wrap all of that up into a neat, coherent little story. And then, we slap the label of understanding on it. But there's a pretty unsettling possibility here. The exact moment you feel like your explanation of someone is completely fluent and finished, well, that might actually be the exact moment you stop truly observing them. When we think we've got someone entirely figured out, we honestly just stop looking at who they are right in front of us.
It's like a mental compression process, and it happens completely naturally. An action occurs, we infer a reason for it, and boom, we lock it into a fixed understanding. As humans, we literally crave reasons because it reduces uncertainty, right? Saying, oh, well, that's just the kind of person they are, acts like this stabilizing device. It makes our relationships way easier to process and predict. But, and this is a big but, human beings are incredibly messy and complex. We change depending on the situation. We hold deeply contradictory feelings all at once. Half the time, we can't even explain our own reasons for doing things. So when we force all that wild complexity into a single, fixed box of understanding, it totally blinds us to a person's capacity to change and adapt over time.
Now, this leads us to a brilliant concept called an untranslatable point. See, because you and I inhabit different bodies, we've lived through different times, and we've accumulated totally different experiences, there's a fundamental phase difference between us. It's like a non-overlapping region between any two people. Take the word fear, for example. Two people could use that exact same word, but one might be recalling the actual physical sensation of freezing up in panic, while the others may be thinking about a lingering emotional memory from childhood. Does the word create a necessary point of contact? Absolutely. But it literally can never fully transfer that raw, lived, physical experience from one body to another.
So what do we actually do with these untranslatable points? Well, a closed understanding basically treats any contradiction or silence from someone else as a flaw, trying to force them back into that fixed image we created. Open understanding, on the other hand, takes a completely different path. And to be clear, it absolutely doesn't mean just understanding nothing. Instead, it's the ethical choice to not confuse what we currently grasp with the massive amount that still remains unknown. So rather than saying, this is exactly who this person is, period, it says, this is how this person appears to me, right at this moment. It's a subtle shift, but it leaves this vital, breathing space for future observation and growth. Okay, let's zoom out to the macro level for a second, because this isn't just about one-on-one relationships. Our entire civilization essentially operates as this massive translation system. Think about it. Large-scale systems absolutely demand that complex human reality gets translated into processable, bite-sized forms. Institutions have to classify, science defines, markets assign numerical prices, and AI verbalizes. These translation devices are 100% necessary for society to function and make decisions at scale. But we really have to ask ourselves, when a system treats only what can be easily processed as real, what on earth happens to the messy, unclassifiable parts of being human?
Seriously, what falls outside those neat civilizational categories? We're talking about people caught between rigid institutional rules, the silent, unrecorded burden of informal caregiving, unexplained physical pain, or just unspoken emotional expectations. The source material refers to this beautifully but kind of tragically as transparent pain. You see, when the friction between a highly complex individual and a rigid system can't be officially recorded, it doesn't just vanish into thin air. It gets absorbed by the individual. It turns into this invisible wear and tear on the very fabric of their daily life. The system gets to stay perfectly clean and logical, while the unclassified reality becomes a silent burden borne by the people themselves.
And that brings us right to the doorstep of modern technology, specifically artificial intelligence. There's a rule of thumb here. When an explanation is highly fluent, the remaining uncertainty basically becomes invisible. AI is incredibly gifted at taking fragmented, messy inputs and generating a smooth, highly structured explanation. But there is a huge danger there. That very fluency can create a completely false sense of complete understanding. The smooth text makes a probabilistic guess look like an absolute, undeniable fact. According to the source material, AI shouldn't just be this magic answer machine. It needs to function more like a health scan, a system that carefully illuminates the boundaries, showing us exactly what is known, while very clearly preserving the spaces of what remains unknown and unsaid.
Bringing it all back home to our interpersonal lives, here's a thought to chew on. Distance is not a defect in a relationship. It really isn't. If we constantly demand complete synchronization with another person, demanding they feel exactly what we feel or change at the exact same speed we do, we're basically treating their differences as friction that needs to be eliminated. We end up erasing them. The ethics of keeping relations open means designing a boundary that allows us to connect without permanently fixing the other person in place. It's all about maintaining a respectful distance that preserves those untranslatable points, keeping the relationship dynamic, breathing, and truly alive.
So, I'll leave you with this. Can we hold the distance and the silence required to keep a relationship open? Can we actually resist the urge to force every little thing into a neat, perfectly explainable box? Understanding another person doesn't mean ending your observation of them. It means accepting the profound, honestly beautiful reality that there will always be parts of them we just cannot reach. And that is not a failure of connection. It's the very foundation that allows two completely different beings to stand next to each other, honoring their unique complexities. Let's leave it there for today. Thank you so much for joining me in this explainer, and I really hope it offers you a slightly new lens through which to view the people in your own life.